What's going on, guys? Keegan here from Punisher's Paintball. I'm here, as always, with Doug. Today we're doing kind of a interesting video that we've been asked about before, and people are always asking about, is how to budget ball or ball on a budget.
So, after today's tips, if you like any of the content that you heard about, we are mostly going to be talking about a lot of used gear. We'll have a link to our used gear page in the description. Please feel free to follow that and help yourselves get into balling on a budget. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll catch you after the intro. Keegan, I think it all comes down to a balance because you don't want to spend a whole lot on playing, but you also don't want to have a bad experience either.
Yeah.
Like it's a slippery slope between buying something that's only $20, but then it's constantly broken and then you can't play. Because I mean, there's a certain point of frustration where it's like, well, screw this. Why am I even trying to play? So there is a middle ground. You know, you're not going to play paintball for $10, but you don't have to play for $2,000.
Correct. There's kind of a couple different things that goes into paintball being expensive. You can have a cheap setup and still have paintball be expensive. And so the first kind of thing that I like to talk about is kind of different play styles. Is you have speedball that is going to be more expensive than if you're playing recreational ball. Unfortunately, you're going to be shooting a lot more paint. Setups are going to be a lot more expensive and everything like that. So if you're just looking to get into paintball and just want to play for as cheap as possible, play recreational or play in your backyard with your friends, and you're just looking for a cheap setup,
you don't need to look for a CS2.
Well, it's not even that. You don't need to look for an electronic gun. You don't need to look for an electronic hopper or a carbon tank. We can get you into a decent. Now, it's not going to be the best thing. It's not going to have a bunch of cases or anything like that. But we can get you into just a beginner setup for playing paintball for I believe it's $165. Is kind of our baseline of this is as cheap as we can get you into a setup for.
So that under $200 would be including gun, hopper, tank, mask.
Yeah. And so you're looking at the JT Stealth, which is about $75. You're looking at a
48 3000 tank.
Yeah,
right?
48 3000 tank, which is going to be $44.95. You're looking at a probably my recommended either the Valken MI3 or the MI7 mask. Which you're looking around $36 for that, or the Empire Helix, which is going to be $40, and then you're looking at $5 for a gravity fed hopper. So altogether, pretty cheap, and that's for your setup. That's everything that you need to play. That is the bare bones stuff for you to have your own setup and play.
That's right.
You can't go without a mask. You can't go without a tank. You can't go without a hopper, and you can't go without the gun. So that is the bare basics for needing to play. And so if you're just looking to play and you don't care what you're playing, you want to play recreational, you want to play in the backyard, and you're looking for as cheap as possible balling on a budget,
that'll get you through. And I mean, even then, Keegan,
with that over like an electronic.
Exactly, and you still don't need an electronic gun. I even had an idea as you were talking about it. You could even get just a plain black JT ProFlex mask, which is going to be infinitely more comfortable and like breathable. And kind of lighter on your face as well. You're still under $200 with that. I think they're what, 65?
Yeah, they're on there.
You're still going to be under $200, even with a really nice mask that even pro players wear. So like that kind of he does. I wore one for years. I still have it. I mean, that kind of gets into my comment of like balancing budget with quality of equipment. If you can do 200 or under, and that's like your blanket statement, I would personally recommend the JT ProFlex in just one of the plain stock colors. There's nothing wrong with it, and honestly, I think I would have a lot of fun playing with that JT gun. I've been lucky enough to shoot one yet at the shop here, but I mean, it's a nice, stable shooting platform. Cheap guns have come a long way.
They're honestly kind of not bad at all.
No.
I mean, we got them in, and I was pretty impressed. Granted, it does have like a plastic barrel, and it's not quite the quality that you would see with some of the higher-end guns, but that's kind of just expected. You're getting what you pay for.
That's right. That's right. And the whole point is being able to play paintball on a small budget.
Yeah.
So under $200 gets you on the field and playing.
Yeah.
Now, as far as where to get funding from, outside of getting a job, because a lot of people are like younger, or maybe they're in school and a job doesn't always exactly work. I spoke personally with Josh Lehman from Columbus Level, local pro team here in Ohio. One of the things he used to do while he was in college was he took his team to work concession stands they're up in Akron, so they have like a local, I believe it's the Rubber Ducks. They have like a baseball team that's nearby that's not quite pro, but I'm pretty sure you could also probably get into pro stadiums as well, where they would just go work the concession stand, and they make thousands doing that.
Yeah.
If you commit to doing like games, like multiple games a season and stuff like that, that can actually be pretty decent income for your team, and I'm sure there's a club fund that it goes to. Right now with coronavirus still going on, that is obviously going to be a little bit dicey of an option, but as the vaccine rolls out, I'm sure that things will be back to normal within a good amount of time, and things like that can resume. I mean, fundraisers are huge.
Yeah, the other thing that you can also do is talk to your local field owner and be like, hey, I'll clean your speedball field for a case or two.
Of paint, right?
Etc., which is always a good way to get paint. I mean, if you spend a couple hours one day cleaning the field and you get 2 cases out of it, you can even play 2 weekends in a row with that.
Yeah,
so,
honestly, that's the thing. Just depending on as Keegan was kind of getting into, like the style that you're playing, because I'm sure there will be the argument of like a lot of teams and speedball players who are like, oh, I get paint for $35 a case. Well, sure, but you're shooting 2-3 cases of practice, so and you're doing that every week. Whereas someone else might only want to go once or twice a month. They might pay more for that case of paint because it's at the rec price, so maybe $65 to like $85, probably more at some fields, but. That money, they're still going to spend less over time, and they're going to have a lot of fun because they're just going out to have fun, shoot up their friends. Like, it's just a whole different kind of game.
Definitely.
I cannot like tell you how much like just the style of play really is going to affect what you spend, right?
Yeah. The kind of our third and final point that we like to make here is buying used gear. You can find used gear on our page. We have a used gear tab that we are constantly changing. You're always seeing new stuff on it that you can visit down through the link in the description. But buying used gear is something that I really wish I had known about when I started. I bought a Mini GS brand new, and so it was about $345 for a Mini GS, and that's kind of your baseline for an acceptable electronic marker.
Yeah, totally.
Now, if I had looked towards used, I could have found a used older Geo, like a Planet Eclipse Geo, or an older 160 or something like that.
Maybe even an old Shocker RSX or something.
Yeah, and possibly found it. Like, I would have had to probably spend about $50 more, but I would have been able to get such a higher end marker. And going more into the mid-range of markers for roughly the same price.
And the benefit of those markers that cost a little bit more is that you're going to have a better playing experience. They won't require quite as much maintenance or just be prone to as many problems, and just it opens up the different avenues that you can play. You can go play speedball one day if you decide that you have the funding for it, or if you really splurge or whatever. Or you can set it down to semi at a super low BPS rate and go play rec and go to have just as much fun as you always did.
Yeah.
It's just the versatility is really, it's a value.
Yeah, and so that's something huge that I like to stress to people is if you are trying to go and play for as cheap as possible but having a good experience, buying used is probably going to be the best way to go. I mean, we constantly have used barrel kits, used masks, new used pads, used pants, jerseys, everything.
Yep.
And it's always changing. And you can always find different things. Like, you can't be quite as picky when it comes to used because you're kind of limited, and you can't be like, okay, I want to wait for this color because that color may never come.
That's right.
So you can't be quite as picky. But if you're just trying to play for as cheap as possible, buying used is my number one suggestion, just because it is such a good route to go. It's something that I really wish I had known, because I would have picked up like an RSX or something like that over my Mini GS and would have had a much, like, granted, yes, Mini GS, great gun, especially for starting out. However,
there's better stuff out there.
For the style of play that I wanted to do, it would have been nice to have a higher end gun, something closer to like an RSX.
Right.
So buying used, huge. I cannot stress it enough.
The used gear page that we have in the description of this video is a lifesaver, and it is a game changer. Okay?
Yes. Granted, you will see some stuff on there that is higher end. Like right now, in terms of guns, we don't have actually we have nothing in the mid range. We have real cheap, like
we have 2 Titmans on there.
Yeah, we have like some Titmans. We have just some other like Dye Proto Ryza, stuff like that, and then we have something like a used Lux X that's posted on sale right now, by the way, for those of you watching. That's posted for $950. And so you kind of just have to wait and be like, okay, I want to wait for this gun, and hopefully they get that in soon. And we might not. You can always message us, and we can try to see what we have coming.
That's right.
But it's always changing, and there's always so much more that we can put on there. So
here's an interesting thought. Say you already have a setup, already have a gun, you have enough money in your budget to play, but you want. So we also have on the used gear page used LV 1.6 right now. Say you want an LV 1.6, you have maybe an old Geo or something, and you really want that 1.6, don't have the money for it, you can always trade in.
Yeah.
We do accept trade-ins. We love trade-ins for new and used guns. Yeah. I'll let Keegan take that away. That's more his bag. But
we like to give you pretty good credit towards trade-ins. However, going towards a new marker, you're going to have a much better trade-in value on your current marker, given that we have more lenience with what we can do with it. And we do still do use for use. However, you're not going to see quite as big of a value for your current marker. But we do them, so if there's something that you guys see on our used page that you're interested in, make sure to give us a call or fill out our used trade-in form.
Absolutely.
Well, I guess you can throw that one in the description too.
I will.
Used trade-in form, throw that one in. Fill out that form. It'll be in the description.
And we will get to you as soon as we can. We get a lot of those that come in, so please be patient. But we always get to them.
Hectic. But we do trades for new and used. We also do cash offers if you're just looking to get out of the sport or something like that. So
I mean, Keegan, I think that's good for how to ball on a budget. That'll get you on the field playing, having a great time until you figure out some other way of funding, or just decide to start trading stuff up. Guys, thank you for watching today. Again, if you'd like to pick up any used gear or do a used gun trade-in, be sure to hit the link below in the description. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll catch you next time.